You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, happy Friday, happy Venus Day, and it's very appropriate what we're talking about this Venus Day. We are talking about Venus stationing direct over the weekend. So I'm going to take you through the entire weekend forecast. If you're finding this video after Friday, check out the timeline below. I'll break this up by day, so you won't have to shuffle through the timeline to figure out when I'm talking about Saturday, when I'm talking about Sunday, when we're talking about Venus stationing direct. I'll make it very easy for you. But if you're here with me live this morning, thank you for being here. I hope your day is off to a great start. Good morning, Michael. Thanks for being here. I just realized I have the wrong date up on the screen also. I'm already in Saturday mode. I'm ready for Venus to station direct. So that's happening on Saturday, but first we have a major conjunction happening today between Mercury and Pluto. Mercury retrograde, I should say, and Pluto. And then Sunday we have a square between the Sun and Uranus. So we kind of have back-to-back days of major transits happening, which means we should just dive right in. So here we go. Let's start with today, start where we're at. So tonight, really, we have Mercury forming a conjunction to Pluto. And let me pull up our chart here so you can see what I'm talking about. So Mercury, you can see, is currently at 27 degrees in Capricorn. Pluto's at 26. This conjunction happens around 8 p.m. Pacific time, so late tonight. And when Mercury retrograde meets up with Pluto, this could bring profound thoughts, profound realizations. Specifically because Mercury's retrograde, it's really asking us to go back, review, revise. So you could have some pretty impactful moments about the past. You could also have realizations about what you truly want when it comes to your long-term plans or your long-term goals, as Mercury is in Capricorn and Pluto is in Capricorn right now as well. That's why they're forming a conjunction. So some fair warning here. We are more prone to obsessive thoughts. Anytime Pluto is in the mix, there's a chance of obsession. But when it comes to Pluto forming a conjunction to Mercury, Mercury rules our rational mind. Our rational mind is a little bit fuzzy, a little confused during Mercury retrograde. So we are more prone to obsess about things. You could also obsessively research things under this transit. Self-analysis is also favored, though. So this is a time if we're using this energy positively to take a look at ourselves, really dive into why we do the things we do, reassess, revise, review our own actions, our own motivations, and really allow our curiosity and intuition to work together. As Mercury is more, again, that rational mind, our curiosity, our intuition is more of that Pluto energy, listening to those urges, those deep longings within us, because Pluto is our shadows, it rules our subconscious in a lot of ways. It's that depth in all of us. So We're allowing our depths to work with our rational mind. And when we're able to do that, we could have these powerful realizations. Okay, but there's another transit playing out at the same exact time, about an hour earlier, but in the grand scheme of things, in our solar system, it's right around the same time. So take a look at the chart here. The sun in Aquarius is forming a sextile to Chiron in Aries, a nice 60-degree angle. And again, this is going exact at about 7 p.m. So let me jump ahead so you can see this more accurately. Here we go. Conjunction between Mercury and Pluto, sextile between the sun and Chiron. Now, the sextile is a very supportive angle if we're able to lean into it. It helps us heal our pain because Chiron is the wounded healer. It represents our deepest pains and our ability to heal them. When the sun gets support from Chiron, it's like we're bringing those wounds to light. And with Chiron and Aries, Aries is often referred to as the sign of the child. Whoa, I just got deja vu for a moment, by the way. Still having deja vu. Super weird. Anyway, Chiron and Aries, Aries being the sign of the child, this could be a moment where a childhood wound comes up. And with Mercury forming a conjunction to Pluto at the same time, we could transform this pain from our childhood into a superpower as an adult. Because, you know, there are no accidents. Everything happens for a reason. We go through the experiences we go through to become the people we're supposed to be. And so if you're able to look at things through that frame, gain a different perspective, especially with the sun in Aquarius, helping us see things a little bit differently, you could have a really healing or profound realization, a profound moment this Friday night. I also wrote this when I was typing out the forecast on thespiritualjournalist.com. And when I wrote it, it felt just kind of like a download. So I'm going to share it with you. Powerful discoveries are possible if you keep your eyes open in the dark. Powerful discoveries are possible if you keep your eyes open in the dark. And the reason I wrote that is because, like I said, Pluto rules our shadows. And with Mercury moving backward into Capricorn, coming into this conjunction into Pluto, we can make these powerful discoveries, but only if we're willing to make the connections, only if we're willing to look at our shadows, to look at this pain. So today's a day to get real with yourself, to be honest with yourself. And if you are willing to do that, it could be a very transformative day. And I hope it is. I hope it is for you. Yes, exactly. Like pulling up your entire family's charts. That's so funny, actually, that you say that, because yes, if you are curious about astrology or learning more about yourself, looking into your own birth chart, looking into a family member's birth chart could actually be really beneficial under today's transits, especially later tonight. If you don't have a lot on tap for your Friday night, hey, some astrology deep dives could be for you. Hello, Danny. Good morning. Good morning to you, Claudia. Okay, so that's what's going on with the major transits today. We have, and really, I should say, throughout the weekend, that theme carries through. It kept coming through, like powerful realizations, powerful realizations. So, you know, even if you don't have that aha moment today, opening yourself up to it today could help it come through throughout the weekend. And sometimes it takes us a few days to integrate whatever powerful realization we've had or whatever experience we've had. So if you haven't figured out the meaning of life by the end of the day, don't worry. You know, you still have a few days to integrate everything you're learning. The moon hangs out in Sagittarius today, and this is the moon's final phase. It is a waning crescent moon. We have the new moon in Aquarius on Monday, and we'll talk all about that at the end of this live stream, what I'm going to do for you guys for the new moon. But as we're coming into this new moon in Aquarius, we have the waning crescent moon. And this moon phase is when there's just the sliver of light around the moon throughout the weekend. And it asks us spiritually to surrender. You can think of, I've used this example before, the moon kind of being like a cup filling up and emptying with light. And there's just that little tiny bit left in the cup, that little tiny sliver on the moon. This is the time to let it go. Just surrender, let it flow, let whatever happens happen. And really, with the moon in Sagittarius in this phase, trust, believe. because Sagittarius is a very spiritual sign. It's that higher spiritual knowledge. Trust that everything is going to work out in your favor. That's what this moon phase is asking us to do. Oh, and have a little fun in the process, okay? It's Friday. So, you know, I think sometimes we forget when we get into spirituality, or we are learning about astrology, or we're trying to apply astrology to our lives. I think sometimes we forget that it can be fun, right? And often it should be fun. That's when we get the most out of experiences, when we're having fun. Sagittarius, I think, is the most fun sign of the zodiac. So having fun can be a great way to release, to surrender ahead of the new moon. Let your hair down. Be free for a little bit tonight, especially because the moon moves into Capricorn over the weekend. So this Friday night really gives us an opportunity to have a little fun before the moon goes into a more serious sign. We get a little bit more sensitive, but also not as in tune with our emotions in a way, because the moon doesn't like being in Capricorn. So take advantage of this Sagittarius moon. Really lean into the trust, lean into the belief. The Sag moon makes two different connections today. First already happened, 1 a.m. So look at the chart here. I'll jump back again. You can see the moon in Sag made this nice sextile to Saturn in Aquarius. This happened, like I said, at like 1 a.m. So overnight for most of us. Many of us probably didn't feel it too much. But if you were awake, or for some reason you're waking up with this energy, it can give you the patience to endure. And that sounds kind of interesting because, you know, normally we don't think of patience as moving forward, but that Saturn energy really slows things down for us, especially under a Sagittarius moon. And not only can it give us more patience to get through difficult things, but it can also give us the willpower to slow down, because often we get so caught up in everything going on that we don't take time to slow down. So you might be starting your Friday off maybe on a little bit of a slower note if you're still feeling this energy, this sextile between Saturn and the moon. And really, as we'll be talking about surrendering, believing, trusting under this moon phase, surrender to what your body is telling you today. You know, it can really, with Saturn in the mix, it can really make us aware of our limits. And so listen, if your body is telling you you're doing too much, definitely listen to it this Friday. The last connection the moon makes before it goes void, for much of the day, actually, we have a void moon. It squares off to Neptune at about 11 o'clock Pacific time. So in just a couple hours, when the moon hits 21 degrees, it forms a square to Neptune and Pisces. And this causes some confusion, maybe even a little bit of delusion. We can feel highly emotional. We can also be more open to deception. So this isn't a time to start anything new or you know, give somebody the benefit of the doubt. As much as I'm saying surrender and trust and flow, yes, do that. But also don't go too far in that direction where you're like, oh, this opportunity popped up, I'm just going to take it. You know, surrender to what's already working or what's already in process. Today's really not a good day to start anything new, to sign any major contracts, because the moon goes void right after noon. So right before that, you know, we feel highly emotional. It could leave us questioning also what we should believe when the moon squares off to Neptune. So if you're feeling confused, also Mercury's retrograde, which just kind of causes mental chaos in general, just, you know, take the day, surrender, listen to your body, surrender, surrender, surrender. Don't start anything new. A void moon is a time when the moon is moving through the last couple degrees of a sign before it enters a new sign, and it's not making any more connections. So nothing will really come of anything you start under a void moon. This is a time to tie up loose ends on this Friday afternoon, or just give yourself rest. That keeps coming through. Just rest, listen to your body, surrender to your body today. And surrender to whatever the universe is handing you. Again, if it's an opportunity, it can wait. It can wait until Monday. But if it's something currently in process, surrender to it. Let it happen. Flow with it. See what happens. Also, you know, a void moon can be a time if there's something that you have to tackle that you're nervous about or that you're afraid is going to cause conflict. It's actually good to do that under the void moon because nothing significant will come from anything started. Okay, so if you have to have a difficult conversation and you're worried about it turning into an argument, especially under Mercury retrograde, having that conversation under a void moon could actually be a good idea, something to keep in mind. So that's our Friday. We have Mercury retrograde forming a conjunction with Pluto in Capricorn, giving us an opportunity to have profound realizations, aha moments. At the same time, the sun in Aquarius forms a supportive angle to Chiron, which can illuminate our wounds and help us transform our pain into our power. The Sagittarius moon squares off to Neptune this afternoon, which can cause some confusion, some delusion, make us even feel highly sensitive. But then the moon goes void for the rest of the day, asking us to have a low-key Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and to give ourselves some rest, to let things die down before we start to pick back up over the weekend, because we have some other major energies playing out. So now let's talk about Saturday. Venus stations direct. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And you know what's funny? If you are a Capricorn rising, like this is a moment for you. Okay? Like just I feel for you. You've gone through it this Venus retrograde. You've gone through it this Mercury retrograde. And really pay attention to anyone with a lot of Capricorn placements. Where is Capricorn in your chart? This weekend, very much pay attention to where Capricorn is in your chart, because we have a ton of action happening in Capricorn. First, that conjunction between Mercury retrograde and Pluto we just talked about happening in Capricorn. Mercury retrograde is still going to be in Capricorn. And then on Saturday, not only do we have Venus stationing direct in Capricorn, but we also have the moon moving into Capricorn. So by Saturday, let's see on I'll show you what Saturday looks like on the chart, because yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot if you have a ton of Capricorn energy in your chart. And so, like I said, pay attention to what area of your chart is going to be affected most, is ruled by Capricorn. Because, for example, if you have Capricorn in the 10th house, which is a great placement, by the way, if you have your 10th house ruled by Capricorn, you're probably having a ton of stuff going on around your career. But if you have your 4th house ruled by Capricorn, it's probably more your home that's being affected by all these things. And why I say Capricorn risings have gone through it is because their 1st house has been activated for the past month and a half, 2 months by all of this Capricorn activity, which is, I've heard from a ton of people who have Capricorn risings, it's been a very, very transformative period. So pay attention to what area of your chart is ruled by Capricorn. Venus is stationing direct though, and we can all celebrate, okay? This is like the love train resuming forward motion. This happens at 1 a.m. on Saturday morning. So overnight from Friday into Saturday for basically all of us, Venus stations direct. Venus is the planet of love, money, beauty, and our values. And while Venus has been retrograde in Capricorn since mid-December, we've had to reassess our long-term commitments, our long-term investments in love, in money, what we truly value, what values we want to hold long-term. We've been assessing these things, and it could have caused some relationships to fall away. It could have caused some relationships to shift. It could have caused your outlook about money and finances to change a little bit as well. So now that Venus is stationing direct, we can expect more and more clarity surrounding our long-term goals and our values, what we truly desire in this lifetime. Relationships can resume forward motion as well. Investments can start to appreciate when Venus stations direct. Life will just seem a little bit more beautiful again. And I really think we could use it. Because remember, if you've been watching these daily live streams, this Venus retrograde hasn't just been a Venus retrograde. Venus formed a conjunction with Pluto on Christmas, which was like, okay, hello, death and rebirth of our love life, of our money. And has formed a lot of really challenging aspects during this Venus retrograde. It's important to note, all of those aspects Venus formed moving backwards, it will now form again moving forward. So Anything that came up during Venus retrograde will likely be revisited, but not as intensely. It should feel clearer and like it's moving us forward rather than pushing us back to review, reassess. Also important to note, Venus is still in its shadow period after it stations direct, and that lasts for about a month. So throughout February, things could still be a little bit murky in these areas. It could take a bit to thaw out from the ice storm that was Venus retrograde in Capricorn. Very, like if your love life has felt like it's been on ice, yeah, that's the Capricorn energy. So partnerships could take a while to warm back up, not just romantic partnerships, friendships, business partnerships. Same thing when it comes to investments or money. It's not like a light switch where Venus stations direct and everything just, your bank account blows up or, whatever. Mercury is still retrograde as well. So as much as I'm saying we can resume forward motion in relationships, still important to watch your words, watch how you're communicating for the next couple of weeks, because Mercury retrograde can cause miscommunication and breakdowns when it comes to talking to other people, even the people we love the most, maybe especially the people we love the most. You know what I mean? Sometimes we're a little harsher with people we trust. So this is a good transit regardless. Venus stations direct, and once Mercury stations direct on the 3rd next week, all of our planets are moving forward. They're all moving forward for a couple months. We need it. We are so excited. So that's the main energy of Saturday. We'll start to feel that love flow back in again. The moon moves into Capricorn at the same time Venus stations direct. So actually, let me jump back here. You can see these are like the final hours of the moon in Sag. Okay, 1 a.m. Moon in Capricorn, and Venus doesn't have a little R next to her anymore. That's how you can tell if a planet is retrograde. So actually, can I zoom in here? You can see Mercury still has that little R. So if you're watching, I don't know if I've ever pointed that out, but if you're looking at the chart, if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, the little R means a planet is retrograde. After February 3rd, there won't be any little R's besides the nodes, which are almost always retrograde. But we don't need to talk about that. We're going to focus on the positive. The moon's in Sagittarius. We're optimistic today, okay? But now we're talking about the Capricorn moon because we're looking ahead to Saturday. And so the moon moves into Capricorn exactly when Venus stations direct. There are no accidents. I absolutely love that this is happening all at the same time. We'll really be feeling the love this Saturday as Venus is stationing direct. But with the moon in Capricorn, we express that in a more protective way. We like security. We want to make sure the people we care about are taken care of, and we want to protect the life we built for ourselves, which means the people that we brought into our life, which means our assets, our money. So we could feel a little more protective. And I mentioned this earlier, but the moon is in detriment in Capricorn. The moon is at home in Cancer. It's opposite sign. So when it's in Capricorn, it's in detriment. And that means we're a little bit more disconnected from our emotions, even though we're feeling more loving and we're feeling like we can progress with those long-term goals and move towards our values when Venus stations direct. It's not like this lovey-dovey energy of affection necessarily, although it could be by the end of the day because we have some really nice transits with the moon. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. However, we'll be more practical about expressing our love. It's like that dad energy when the moon is in Capricorn, like, hey, here's $20, go get a ice cream, and it's not like the mothering energy of the moon in Cancer would be like, oh, I love you so much. I just want to take care of you. Let me give you a hug. Capricorn's like, here's some money. Make sure you're taken care of. Does that make sense? Kind of that fatherly energy. So that's where the moon's going to be throughout the weekend. And at 7 a.m. on our Saturday, we have a couple different conjunctions between the moon on Saturday. And you can see that playing out on our chart because what's going to happen? The moon enters Capricorn over here. Look at all the different planets it's about to hit throughout the weekend. Hello. lots of conjunctions coming up over the next couple days. So first, the moon forms a conjunction to Mars in Capricorn. This weekend is just going to be like all the Capricorn energy. So when the moon forms a conjunction to Mars at 7 a.m. Pacific time, we start our Saturday with a burst of energy. We'll wake up with the stamina to work towards those long-term goals with Mars and Capricorn. If you feel like starting a big project today or Saturday, it's the day to do it. This is certainly the energy that gets us thinking long-term. You know, I just picture like, I don't know why I keep picturing a dad, but I just picture like a dad waking up on a Saturday morning, like, I'm going to tackle that backyard project today. You know, like, I'm going to create a more stable environment for my family. Or maybe you're feeling this urge to work on your side hustle on a Saturday. Or maybe it's just getting your house in a state that will actually bring you more security and emotional stability long term, because, you know, maybe you've kind of let things go a little bit, and taking some time to just really get things in order could make you feel more stable. It's all dependent on where Capricorn is in your chart, definitely, but also what your tendencies normally are as well. What are your long-term goals? You know, that will all depend on how these transits show up in Capricorn. But either way, whatever this transit is activating in your chart, the moon forming a conjunction to Mars gives us more energy and puts us in the mood to take action. By 11 a.m., midday Saturday, the moon forms a sextile to Jupiter. So as serious as the Capricorn moon can be, this influence from Jupiter gives us a boost of optimism, gives us a boost of belief. These good vibes are especially welcome when the moon is at its detriment in Capricorn. We will take that nice little silver lining, that nice little pep in our step for sure. So that happens at about 11 a.m. We get this nice little ping from Jupiter. Then this evening, we have two back-to-back transits with the moon. First, the moon forms a harmonious angle to Uranus at about 6 p.m. Pacific time. So you can see the moon here in Capricorn forming a trine to Uranus in Taurus. This can bring about a change of pace. So if you were like going, had this burst of energy all day on Saturday, you know, it could just bring a change of pace, whether that's slowing down or maybe speeding up. It just kind of depends, because when Uranus is in the mix, we could crave excitement and we could be surprised by something. So this could bring a shift. You know, we've been talking about these aha moments. This could be the moment when the moon forms a trine to Uranus that something clicks for you. It can bring a shift in our values. As Venus is stationing direct, we could be more aware of the changes going on around our values, especially with Uranus and Taurus. And, you know, this can also just look like a change of pace, whatever that means for you. Uranus marks a change, but the nice thing about this transit, because it's this nice harmonious angle, is it allows us to flow through change with ease. So whatever comes up for you on Saturday evening should feel easy to flow through. If there's an excitement, an unexpected encounter, that's certainly possible. This could also bring a lucky surprise, some sort of lucky encounter on a Saturday night. Maybe you run into somebody you weren't expecting to see and it brings about this opportunity or something like that. Like I said, there's some sort of change of pace. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like for you, but if you're watching this, comment below and tell me, if you're watching after the fact, if you felt the change or you felt even just a shift in energy by Saturday evening. Just after this trine between the moon and Uranus, the moon forms a conjunction to Venus. So this is pretty positive because Venus is now direct, and when the moon forms a conjunction to Venus, we feel more loving. You can see it over here. We feel more affectionate. Even with the moon in Sirius Capricorn, this puts the spotlight on our long-term desires. We're more at peace in our relationships when the Capricorn moon meets up with Venus. We are more attuned to the things we hold dear. We can appreciate the beauty of our life more easily when the moon forms a conjunction to Venus. This just looks like an emotional awareness of Venus now stationing direct. Like, okay, we're starting to move forward and emotionally we're on board with it, with this conjunction. So really positive transits with this Capricorn moon all throughout the day on Saturday, and very much welcome because, again, the moon doesn't like being in Capricorn. So when we have all of these positive influences from Mars, from Uranus, from Venus, it can help lighten the energy and help us tap into our emotions, tap into our motivation a little bit more easily at a time when we might not be feeling our absolute best. The transits help us. The transits are helping us on Saturday. So let's do an overview of Saturday and then we'll move on to Sunday. This Saturday, Venus retrograde ends. Thank goodness. So we can resume forward motion when it comes to our love, our relationships, our money, our values, and what we find beautiful in this world. But keep in mind, Venus's shadow period lasts for about a month, which means we could see a few more conflicts, a few more slip-ups in the area of relationships. However, things are moving forward again and very much welcome. The moon moves into Capricorn at almost the same exact time that Venus stations direct. The Capricorn moon is very serious and can disconnect us from our emotions. However, this Saturday, the moon makes positive connection after positive connection, first to Mars, boosting our energy, giving us the motivation to work towards long-term goals, then forming a sextile to Saturn, giving us some optimism and good vibes. On Saturday evening, the moon forms a trine to Uranus and a conjunction to Venus, marking a shift in our values, a change of pace, and an ability to appreciate all the changes we're going through a little bit more easily. So that's our Saturday. Now let's get through Sunday. And this is the first weekend we've had in a long time where it's like major transit after major transit, day after day. So we've had a lot to get through, and I appreciate you guys going through it with me. Okay, so here's Sunday morning, the 30th. And we have a square between the sun and Uranus. That happens at 11:30 a.m. on Sunday. So right midday on Sunday. The Aquarius, so the sun's in Aquarius, and Aquarius's modern ruler is Uranus. So this looks like a lot of weirdo Aquarian energy on Sunday afternoon. Like, we're going to get a little weird on Sunday. We could also be more rebellious under this transit because the Aquarius sun makes us a little bit more eccentric, more comfortable expressing our true beliefs, our true selves, our authenticity, and makes us a little bit more rebellious. It squares off to Uranus and Taurus, which can cause a disruption or an abrupt change to happen on Sunday afternoon. This could look like the beginning of a revolution. I mean, that's what this transit says to me, like, let's start the revolution. Maybe a personal revolution for you, maybe a collective resolution as the sun is in Aquarius, spotlighting the collective. But this is a tense 90-degree angle which forces action. And in the short term, on Sunday afternoon, this square between the sun and Uranus can cause a little bit of anxiety and unease if we are resisting the changes happening all around us. So the key to this transit is to be open to change, be flexible, see any redirections or sudden shifts as opportunities to either learn a lesson or move in a different direction. Welcome shifts, welcome changes as redirections from the universe, and you should be able to navigate this transit on Sunday more easily. But if you're feeling more rebellious on Sunday, yeah, that's pretty par for the course as well. Just Mercury's still retrograde, okay? So if you're feeling like agitated or rebellious, don't take it out on the people around you. Don't start a fight just for the sake of fighting. I'm guilty of this. I think we've all been guilty of this at one time or another. We feel anxious, we feel uneasy, we're looking for something to make us feel better, and we just kind of start poking the people around us. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But if that's you on Sunday, be kind with your words, make sure you're communicating effectively, even if it's a matter of just telling people, yeah, I'm feeling a little bit anxious today, so they understand where you're at instead of expecting them to figure it out on their own. Just know that changes are happening. There are major shifts happening collectively. I really feel that, and looking ahead to the transits as well. It's like we've had a ton of conjunctions with major planets in Pluto lately. The USA is coming into its Pluto return at the end of February. We have 2222 coming up next week, which is very exciting. This could be the beginning of a major shift or change when the sun squares off to Uranus on Sunday. The moon stays in Capricorn on Sunday in its final moments before becoming new again in Aquarius. This is still that time to let go and surrender. But while the moon is in Capricorn, it can be hard to do that because Capricorn likes to be in control. It likes to be working towards something. And in this moon phase, we're just kind of like, okay, we're ready to start a new beginning. Let whatever needs to fall away, fall away. So I know that can be hard to do. If you're a Capricorn watching or have major Capricorn placements, you're like, surrender? What? Like, no. Try to surrender this weekend. The moon forms a sextile to Neptune midday on Sunday, really right around when that square is happening between the sun and Uranus. And this can help us tap into our sensitivities, our emotions, our empathy. We might feel highly sensitive when the moon gets support from Neptune, but we can also feel more loyal and empathetic. So, we're more in tune with our emotions at this moment, which is really nice because anytime the moon makes a connection when it's in Capricorn that helps us tap into our intuition a little bit more, it's very much welcome. So this sextile between the moon and Neptune is definitely a beneficial transit, but a sextile requires some action. So you're going to have to open yourself up on Sunday to your emotional sensitivity or to your psychic sensitivity. It requires a little bit of effort. You're going to have to make that intention of, okay, I'm going to be more empathetic. I'm going to be kinder to the people I love today. And the moon's connection to Neptune will support you. Sunday evening, we have more conjunctions to talk about. What did I tell you? Look at the chart. The moon enters Capricorn and it's like boom, 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 boom. Conjunction, conjunction, conjunction. So we had the conjunction to Mars and Venus on Saturday. That means we have conjunctions to Mercury retrograde and Pluto on Sunday. And this happens Sunday night. First, that conjunction to Mercury retrograde at 6 p.m. This could definitely cause some miscommunication if emotions are high. We're prone to overanalyzing during this transit, especially with the moon in Capricorn, wanting to know the long-term plan. And Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is forcing us to review and reassess the long-term plan. And we're also prone to emotionally detaching with the moon in Capricorn. So remember, your rational mind doesn't always have all the answers. When the moon forms this conjunction to Mercury, all of that self-talk or self-doubt with the moon in Capricorn, we can be a little bit more worrisome. That can take over. And don't believe everything you're telling yourself in your head, okay? Sometimes we can deceive ourselves by just worrying about all the things that could go wrong. So when the moon forms this conjunction to Mercury, watch your words and watch the thoughts you're telling yourself. Watch what you're saying to yourself. And just like on Sunday, all I can say is be kind to the people around you. Like really set that intention first thing on Sunday because we have a lot of intensity and the potential for conflict. Not necessarily, well, the sun square Uranus definitely causes a potential for conflict, but anytime Mercury retrograde is involved, this could even look like when the moon forms a conjunction to Mercury retrograde, like you're trying to have a conversation with someone and what you're saying is coming across as really cold or emotionally detached, and that in itself could cause a miscommunication. So not only pay attention to what you're saying, but how you're saying it throughout the weekend, but especially on Sunday evening. Because remember, a delivery, it's like that nonverbal part of communication, how you're talking, even your body language can cause a miscommunication. So, if you are in a relationship or you have a really close friend, like sometimes it's just, I'm guilty of this. Sometimes it's like the eye roll or just the like look on your face of like, you know what I mean? That look, like, are you kidding me right now? Don't do that look. Don't do it on Sunday. Just be nice. Just be extra nice. Trust me. It'll serve you well. So we're watching our words. We're watching the thoughts we're telling ourselves. We're watching how we're communicating with other people when the moon forms a conjunction to Mercury. Then at 8 p.m. on Sunday, the moon forms another conjunction to Pluto, which really intensifies our emotions. This ends the weekend on an intense note. We start to make sense, though, of what is dying. What is falling away before the new moon? This is the last connection the Capricorn moon makes before the new moon in Aquarius. And we're really aware of the cycles that are ending. Venus stationing direct can make us aware of what we did away with, what we lost, what fell away during its retrograde. And so we'll really be feeling that by Sunday evening, understanding the shifts that are happening, understanding what is falling away so something new can be reborn under the new moon. But this can feel really intense, letting the old ways die, facing our shadows. It goes back to the thing I said for Friday's forecast. Powerful realizations are possible if we keep our eyes open in the dark. If we're willing to see our shadows, meet our shadows, we can work with them. So this is a time to do that on Sunday evening. This is a time to really pull up any emotions that have been suppressed or that have been lingering, see what they need, see how you can let them go so you can have that clean slate for the new moon. So Sunday is a little bit of a change of pace and brings a little bit more intense or anxious energy, I'll say, because on Sunday we have that square between the Aquarius sun and Uranus, which can make us feel a little bit more rebellious or uneasy. Collectively, we could experience a major shift or change, and in our personal lives, the same thing can happen. The moon hangs out in Capricorn on Sunday, first forming a sextile to Neptune right around midday, which can help us tap into our intuition, into our sensitivities, definitely welcome under the Sirius Capricorn moon. By Sunday night, we have back-to-back conjunctions between that moon and Mercury retrograde and Pluto. So really pay attention to the words you're saying to other people, the thoughts you're telling to yourself. Remember that your rational mind isn't always right, and be extra intentional about how you're communicating. Also, give yourself grace as intense emotions surface when the moon forms a conjunction with Pluto. We're having these profound realizations. We're making sense of what parts of our lives are dying, are falling away, so we can be reborn under Monday's new moon. Woo! That was a lot, y'all. That was a lot. Also, who am I? Why did I just say y'all? I don't know. We're changing, we're shifting, it's all happening. Okay, let's pull some cards. I've been loving this 3-card pull we've been doing on Fridays, one for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's what I'm going to do today, pulling from the Modern Witch Tarot deck here. Here it is. I love this tarot deck. Let me pull up the guidebook as well. And while I'm doing this, as always, it is a perfect time to ask questions. Perfect time if you have quick access to your birth chart to look up where Capricorn is in your chart, what house it rules. And let me know if you have your chart in front of you. I'll give you a little tidbit on what area of your life is probably going to be affected the most this weekend. Okay, so do that while I shuffle. That's your assignment. I feel like a teacher. Everybody go to page blah, blah, blah in your birth chart. Tell me, go to Capricorn in your birth chart. Tell me what area is being activated. And also, how's everybody feeling? I mean, the energy feels like it's kind of building, but also getting ready for a shift. That's how it feels for me. And also, even though we're still in retrograde season, on my end, it feels like it's getting easier. Feels like we've kind of gotten through the most intense parts of it, or at least this weekend will be kind of like the pinnacle of this retrograde season as Mercury retrograde forms that conjunction with Pluto today, as Venus stations direct. It's like all these energies are shifting in Capricorn over the weekend. So let's see. What else do we need to know? Okay. 3 of Pentacles is our Friday card. And upside down, 8 of Swords, or 8 of Swords in reverse for Saturday, and the Queen of Wands in reverse for Sunday. Okay, let's start with our Friday card, the 3 of Pentacles. Give me a second to get there in our guidebook. You know, last weekend we had all Pentacles, which is really interesting. I remember that. And I always give this disclaimer when I'm doing pulls from tarot. I'm not a tarot expert. I just read the guidebook, as with all my cards. So, you know, I don't know exactly what the different suits mean. I'm just here to bring the message through. So, our Friday card, the 3 of Pentacles. Your passion for learning and improving your skills is going to pay off. You've been faithfully dedicating yourself to a project or to your job, and someone above you is looking to reward you for all of this hard work. You have the talent to see it through, and soon you'll be where you want to be. Ooh, great card for our Friday. Definitely. We will take that. Our hard work is paying off, and it's about time, right? But this really, this makes a lot of sense. I think this is more like, this could definitely be your hard work, like actual work, but also all of the emotional work you've been doing during this retrograde season. As we have this conjunction between Mercury retrograde and Pluto today, it can be that realization or that understanding of why you've been going through everything you've been going through. And that can be the hard work that's paying off. Also, the healing you've been doing is the hard work that could pay off as the sun gets support from Chiron. And we also have support from Saturn today, which is also kind of showing us lessons that we've been learning. So regardless of what area of your life is activated the most, wherever you've been working, not even just in your career, emotionally, with your family, with passion projects even, all of that hard work is going to pay off. Saturday, we have the 8 of Swords. And I just realized this deck doesn't have reverse descriptions, which I kind of like. In fact, my friend Morgan, Rising with Morgan, she's a fantastic follow if you're into tarot. She says she doesn't read reverse cards because, I don't know, whoever taught her how to read tarot told her not to do reverse. And I kind of like that because I don't love the idea of there being like this negative message coming through. That's why I always shied away from tarot for so long, because it seemed really dark. But this deck doesn't have reverse, so we'll take it. Okay, so the 8 of Swords, our Saturday card. Ooh, you're feeling trapped, blinded, unable to take action because all your swords are stuck in the ground and they seem too difficult to pull out. You can see that on the card here. But those ropes aren't very tight around her. And with just a little struggle, they'd fall right off. Don't surrender to hopelessness and negativity. You might have made some mistakes that have gotten you here, but you have the skills you need to get yourself out of this situation. Oh my goodness. Can I just say how perfect this card is for a Capricorn moon? We've been talking about surrendering under this moon phase. And, it's hard to surrender with the moon in Capricorn, but at the same time, don't surrender to negativity. A Capricorn moon can certainly make us more negative and more worrisome. So don't surrender to negativity. Instead, surrender to love. Surrender to the lessons you've been learning during Venus retrograde as Venus stations direct on Saturday. You have the skills to get yourself out of this situation. The card is literally telling you you do. So, as on Saturday, we have conjunctions between Mars and the moon. We have conjunctions between Venus and the moon. It's really showing us what we've learned and how to best use our emotions in order to make forward progress. So surrender to love, surrender to the lessons. Don't surrender to negativity on Saturday, especially if you're feeling trapped or unable to make a decision. You don't have to figure it all out today. Just take one right action and surrender to more positive energy. And I promise you things will start unfolding if you can just be more positive and shut down the negative voice. And our last card for Sunday is the Queen of Wands. So what does the Queen of Wands have to say to us? She says, the Queen is bursting with life and infectious energy, and you can't help feeling like you could take on the world when you're around her. Her confidence and get-to-itness is so powerful, she motivates you to do shit. That's literally what this says, do shit. If you're the Queen, life is giving it all to you right now. Good luck, ideas, friends, promotions, so channel this bounty into confidence. You know your strengths and weaknesses and how to utilize all your skills to get what you want. So, get it, girl. Yes. Love that card. That's our Sunday energy. And, when the sun squares off to Uranus, this could, like I said, there's a shift. There's some sort of change happening on Sunday. So maybe that's a renewed confidence, especially with the moon in Capricorn. We might feel a little bit more confident on Sunday. And, we also have the moon on Sunday forming a conjunction to Mercury retrograde, a conjunction to Pluto, really forcing these changes. Lean into the confidence, lean into the good vibes. That's the message coming through for this weekend. Even if your mind is telling you all these things that are going wrong or all these things that could possibly go wrong with all this stuff going on in Capricorn, you know, your ego trying to protect yourself a little bit from any potential mishaps. I get it. But the Queen of Wands reminds you that you're in control of your energy, okay? You can get shit done. Like, you are the powerhouse behind your own life. So get to it. Do shit, as the guidebook said. Those are our messages that come through. And someone asking, what are my thoughts for 2/22/22? That's the USA's exact Pluto return. I'm going to do a whole video on this once it gets a little bit closer, because I think there's a lot to talk about. But just briefly, I see the energy building right now with all of this activation happening in Capricorn. Pluto is in Capricorn, the sign of the father, the sign of structures. And over the past, Pluto moves so slowly that we've been experiencing Pluto's return already. And I think the pandemic, everything happening around the world is really playing into that, because we're seeing structures of power fall and crumble. We're seeing things shift and change, and old ways die in order for new things to be reborn. So that's kind of the energy building, not only externally around the world, in our government in the US, but also I think internally, because Pluto is nearing the end of its time in Capricorn as well. It goes retrograde later this year, but it won't be in Capricorn for too much longer in terms of Pluto's transit, which takes a really, really, really long time to move. But I see old ways dying, new ways beginning, and I feel February. I just keep feeling like February is going to bring some major shifts. I feel like we're already seeing that. We're seeing a shift in awareness. We're seeing a shift in how people are relating to current events, how people are viewing patriarchal structures, how people are viewing governments has been huge during the pandemic. And I really think February could be this like pivotal moment. It's not like though when Pluto return happens, it's just going to be over. It's like this culmination point, like the top of a mountain, and then we start to come back down the other side and let old ways fall away so we can be reborn. That's my thought. Thank you for your question. So that's going to do it for our weekend transits. I know it was a long video. Thank you for everyone who stuck with me this morning. I appreciate you. I'm glad you were able to make it here. If you didn't catch the full video, you can always go back on YouTube, and I will, like I said, add some chapters so it's easier to navigate day by day over the weekend. And yeah, I hope you have a beautiful Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Something I want to tell you really quick is that instead of doing a live stream on Monday morning for the new moon in Aquarius, I'll be going live on Sunday evening. So something a little bit different because yes, Danny, I am hopping a plane on Monday morning, heading to Hawaii. And I will be, I think, streaming at least once in Hawaii. So stay tuned for that too. But we'll be talking about the new moon on Sunday afternoon. So if you're not able to usually join these live streams, maybe block out some time on Sunday to come hang out with me. I'm going to decide what time, and I'll post it on my Instagram. So make sure you're following me on Instagram, or subscribe on YouTube and you'll get a notification when I schedule the live stream. So yes, lots of fun stuff coming up. Lots of changes happening. I hope that you're able to flow through them with ease and grace. Give yourself some grace, give yourself some compassion. And I will see you right back here on Sunday afternoon for our new moon in Aquarius forecast. But until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just
Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.